the Rural Economic Development Incentive, or REDI as it's known. And as you may know, GOED's mission is to enhance the quality of life by increasing and diversifying Utah's revenue base and improving employment opportunities. And when we think of the state as a whole, it's easy to nod our heads and say, yes, yeah, we're doing that. But let's take that mission statement and look specifically at the rural communities and ask how we are doing to enhance the quality of life by increasing and diversifying the rural counties' revenue bases and improving employment opportunities here and there. So we have been recently given the incentive, the REDI incentive, to do this. The REDI program, I've been trying to get the word out, and if you haven't heard yet, I'm glad you're here to hear it again, because this is the only way we can get it to all the businesses, as we certainly rely on you. This is an expansion grant for the creation of new high-paying full-time positions in these rural counties of the 4th, 5th, and 6th class. It's a unique incentive because although it comes out of the rural office, the grant money goes to businesses anywhere, whether the business is located in a rural county or not. The business, if they're on the Wasatch Front, they can get this funding. The positions, therefore, can be remote, online, at a satellite hub, or in an industry that lies within those same 4th, 5th, or 6th class counties, which is, those are less than 31,000 in population. For businesses that are having difficulty filling positions, it's an opportunity to insource. So let's look at Utah versus India. We've got great skilled, educated labor force with a great work ethic. With remote employees, you know, we're looking at a low overhead. There's no fancy glass-walled brick and mortar building, and potentially paying lower wages than those on the Wasatch Front. Or there's even the possibility of creating a satellite hub or work center, which we have seen in a couple of our rural communities. That's working great. With the grant funds, if you are not from one of the smaller rural counties, this is a way to encourage your local business expansion while providing other resources for workforce. As I said, coming from Box Elder County in economic development, we always had a saying to businesses. We would say, look inside the box, Box Elder County. Well, now I'm advocating to look outside the box again, or outside the city to hire the workers. We want the businesses to stay. We want them to stay in our counties and where they are. We want them to grow here. But if they're struggling to get those employees, or if there's a way for them to hire remote employees so they can stay here and employ there. And again, location, that's very valuable. And if you have the opportunity to live in a rural community like I do, it's very valuable. And we want to stay here. We want to be able to live in these rural communities. We want our families closer if they choose to stay here, to have the quality of life, and also be able to have high-paying positions. Although they may be less than those that are paid on the Wasatch Front, this REDI program is requiring the high-paying positions. It is a way to stimulate the local economy. So it's the counties, the rural counties, that get the position, and that will help to stimulate that local economy. The business can also be physically located in that county. So you see, there's many ways that this can be used. Some examples of remote, you know, is software developers, coding, in the healthcare industry. This is a way to beef and build out that industry in these rural counties, is to have healthcare providers. And this is an incentive to encourage that. Accounting, engineering, there's lots of different ways to use this incentive. The REDI process, I just wanted to take you as quickly as I can through the process so that you have an understanding of it. So if you have any businesses that have questions, and again, like with so many of the programs, many of these incentives through the rural office, it must be done prior. the application process must be done prior to creating the new positions. So you need to apply for and receive approval for participation. These businesses must do in advance before they hire. They will need to pay at least 125% of the average county wage for each new position. They need to employ and have them employed at 30 hours per week. That's the definition of full-time for 12 consecutive months. They cannot be an immediate family member of an officer of the corporation or owner, and the businesses or industries that cannot use this incentive are construction, retail, staffing, or public utilities. The REDI grant levels then that will be awarded to businesses depends upon the county. So $4,000 where the average county wage is equal to or less or greater than the state average wage. $5,000 where the average county wage is 85% to 99% of the state average wage, and $6,000 where the average county wage is less than 85%. And a business can qualify for up to $25,000 in REDI grants in any fiscal year. So depending upon how many positions and which county they're located in, up to $25,000 per fiscal year. And this is a chart, and hopefully many of you have seen this. The highlighted, those are the counties where the employees could come from that would qualify for the businesses. You can see the county average wage, what is 125% of the county average wage, and the state, and the amount that they could receive. So a little bit of the REDI application information. Again, they must first apply. I can't say that enough because I know we've run up against this in the past, and you have also with your own businesses, you've encouraged them to apply for incentives, and they must receive approval. So here's the REDI application. I wanted to take you, so if you're like me and maybe multitasking right now, and you've just been listening in, this might be a time when you might want to see where to go to get this, because like me, I can never follow people very quickly as they go to websites. So it's business.utah.gov. If you just remember that, all the resources to go at are here. So hover over programs, rural development, and that will take you to our rural office website. You will just read all that information first because it's very interesting. And then the very first tab is Rural Economic Development Initiative, the REDI program. This is kind of the brief summary again of the program. This is the table. Continue to scroll down, and right here we have 3 links. This one is the application. Just click on that real quick, and this is kind of nice because you can actually look through the application process before you begin, because it is to be done online. This one's just for review. Don't print it and submit it that way. You will need to do it online, but this gives you an idea of the things you will need to be looking for. This is one little interesting glitch in the web page, is that every time you click on that and then go back, it wants to take you back to the main page. This is our REDI information. So this is more in depth. This is all the information about the process, the application and information, and I'm going to be going over this, but just look, it's only 4 pages plus the table. So it's not really a lot. That's one thing about this incentive that is really great, is it's not complicated, and it's very simple to apply. Honestly, the real challenge is just for businesses to be creative or think outside that box and find ways to make it work. I do want to take you quickly through this application process, just so you kind of get an idea. So there's the information, there's the table. We quickly, the first page, fill in the address. You've got your company's ID number and your NICS code. This makes it easy. You can click right here and it will take you to a list of those NICS codes. So you will put that in there, whatever that may be. My contact information, my title, of course, I'm the vice president, and my email has to be a real one or it does not work. And these numbers have to have a hyphen or they don't work. Oops, and it didn't work at all. Let's see. So, and then this will have to also be filled in. And I'm just doing that really quick. So then you're gonna have to put in the total projected number of the new full-time employee positions that they plan to create in the next 6 months. So once this application has been approved, they have 6 months to hire. So say we're going to create 5 new positions. Maybe it's more, maybe it's less, but if you're just not exactly sure, but you anticipate, the number, the county of hire, and the anticipated wage, which will be a 125% of the county's average wage, and you can go back to the table to reference that. And then if you want to add another employee, you can add another employee here. Or we don't want to because we don't have any more, or we do, but it will save up to 7 counties. So what matters is the county where you're hiring them, the anticipated wage, and the number, the projected number from that county, because right here it's going to calculate, how much that is. And so it keeps adding up 6,000 until it reaches that 25,000 limit, and then it stops adding. Then the county or the business will need to add this form 33H, and this is what shows the baseline number of employees which is required. And the businesses should be familiar with this. Their accountants should be familiar, and that's one little glitch right there, is that it takes you back to page 1. And up until yesterday, it would actually erase most of this information. And it's like it still is. I thought we had that fixed yesterday, so we'll get that fixed. And then the last thing is the entity's W-9. So I think that's pretty much it that's on that application. I had one right here, but I can't find it, and it doesn't really matter what file, just as long as you are getting the right file on there, we certainly hope. And then this is the official signature. So by clicking that box, you're saying that this is the baseline of employees that we already have. So you're not changing, it needs to be new positions that are created. And that's going to go in the system now, and I am going to get an email saying we have a new business that's applied. So the REDI application process. So after the review and approval, then GOED will go into or enter into a written agreement. So the funds will not be allocated until both parties sign the written agreement. And then the timeline, like I said, is 6 months to hire, and the new application or a new application is required. So if by chance the employee doesn't stay and its position is vacated within the 12-month period, there's 15 business days to allow to fill the vacancy, and then that will continue. You won't have to start over the 12-month process. That will maintain that 12 months counting for that grant. The REDI application award documentation then, following the 12-month completion of employment, then the business entity must provide copies of employee pay stubs at 6-month, year-end, and last pay period. Each employee's work address on that, if the location is different from the address on the pay stubs, and 1 or more reports that show each employee on at least one unemployment insurance quarterly report, and an unemployment insurance quarterly report for last quarter of the eligible employment period. There is a 90-day deadline after the 12 months to get that in, or the original agreement is terminated. Now, there's a couple of restraints so that you are aware of. Of course, the business must remain current on all unemployment insurance payments, state and federal taxes, have a valid business license, et cetera, et cetera. The business may only receive reimbursement for the number of positions that have been approved by GoEd for a reimbursement. Now, we've already run into this a little bit. So if more are requested after the application has been submitted, it is okay to create another application as long as it doesn't exceed the $25,000 per fiscal year. And the government or the state's fiscal year, of course, is July 1 to July 1. The business cannot eliminate existing positions to make way for a new position, and the new positions so then need to exceed that baseline count. And new positions that qualify to receive reimbursement for the REDI program are not eligible to be counted as eligible positions for the Rural Fast Track and or the Enterprise Zone programs. Finally, the REDI broadband, excuse me, I didn't mean to say those both in one breath. With REDI, we have lots of broadband that covers nearly every community in the state of Utah. So over the past 7 years, the Governor's Office of Economic Development has been really dedicated to facilitate and advance broadband build out to all parts of the state, including the rural communities. So this is really what is helping to make it possible to hire remote workers and giving the rural communities an economic advantage. The REDI program encourages the companies along this thriving Wasatch Front then to fill these and use this broadband with people that can access it. So I just wanted to show you these two websites. This one is broadband.utah.gov, has a couple of maps on it. This is to our original broadband outreach center, but the thing that's valuable are these two maps. This one is for residential, this is for commercial. I'm going to just go real quick to residential, and I'm going to take you to one of my favorite places, which if you just type in any Pioneer address that works, and I'm going to put in Bicknell because one of my favorite people lives there. It will take you to Bicknell and you will see where broadband is. Now, this shows you over here all of the providers. This over here shows you wireline, cable, DSL, fiber, fixed wireless, mobile wireless. I'm just going to take these fixed and wireless off and just show you what's left then of fiber. And then you can come back over here, and I'm not advertising for South Central, but just so you know, it does go directly to their website. And it is done for every single provider, whether it's CenturyLink or anyone. Now I want to take you back to, well, I'm just going to take you back. If you click on locate.utah.gov, and I can't do that from there, this will get us there. This is the same, locate.utah.gov. This is to the commercial maps. And this is great. We are continuing to maintain this, and we're keeping this up to date. And this is another thing that we're asking of you and could use from you, is to make sure that the information we have specifically under economic development is accurate. So for instance, we have broadband first. Here's all of our all non-mobile broadband. You click on that, you can see the light gray, and that shows you the gray matches the black, and then this economic development will be red. That's why the colors are what they are. This is our fiber. And if we go, well, let's see, if we click on Sevier County, I'm going to click on the enterprise zone. I want you to see also where the enterprise zones are. And I would like to encourage all of you to do that, to make sure that they are up to date. Because as I was looking at this earlier, I noticed when I went to Richfield City, there's an address here in Richfield and Sevier County. You click there for your summary report. You just have to wait a few seconds while it's generating this for you. Anyway, there's not information about the enterprise zone because it's not in an enterprise zone right now. But there is information that talks about higher education of schools, providers for utilities, natural gas, fiber. It's just very robust. It's great. If you click outside into the red, and we generate that for a few seconds, then you'll see that we have Malcolm Nash, who is the point of contact for the enterprise zone, and all the same information. So I'm hoping you're able to be aware of that, utilize that, work with your businesses, let them know, you know, the broadband is very robust in the rural Utah. So our goal is economic prosperity statewide. The REDI program is a united Utah win, providing grants to growing companies statewide while creating diverse, attractive jobs in economically struggling rural Utah counties. So again, our website, business.utah.gov/rural, will take you right to that rural page. And this is our new email address, goedruralprograms@utah.gov. And this will take care of all of the rural programs. We will be using this as a funnel to get information from businesses, applicants, from you to, and this will be distributed internally to the person that's over that incentive. And speaking of the REDI program and all that we're doing, I thank you. And just want to conclude with this. The REDI program is, as Commissioner Bushman relays, is one of a three-legged stool. I guess they're still working on the third leg, but the second leg has to do with finding these qualified, skilled employees. And so that's been asked is, well, this is a great incentive. Yeah, we would be interested in doing it. How can I find these employees? How can I find the skilled workers? And so the Rural Online Incentive, the ROI, great acronym that's being managed by Utah State University, is take care of training online. So now
So the question is, can a local rural business receive the incentive for hiring employees or only businesses from outside the area?
Nope, everybody. It's for any business in any county. So as I said, it can be a business off the Wasatch Front that's hiring remote, or it can be a physical company right within that rural county of the 4th, 5th, or 6th class. The business can be physically located there. They can already be there. It can be a new business. And that's one thing that's unique about this incentive as well. So I'm glad you asked that. It can be a new business because the requirements are maintained for 12 months at 125% of the county's average wage. And if a new business can do that and are doing that, then they can get the incentive as well. We've talked, as I mentioned also, you know, there's satellite hubs. And so it can be, the business can be in Sevier and they can be hiring in, say, Paiute. Or the business can be in Sevier and hiring in Sevier. It doesn't matter where the business is located. It's where the employees are located.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
those are all the questions that I have seen. So Rebecca, if you could change the presenter over to Trenton.
Okay, you might have to remind me how to do it. I've clicked on screen and
Okay, so looks like I'm here. So let me make this into presentation mode. Okay, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, great, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so with the Rural Online Initiative, as Rebecca talked about the three-legged stool, we've got 2 legs in place, and the third one they're working on this next legislative session. And so we are the training aspect of this process. We are the ones who are going to develop the workers, give them opportunities to learn how to be remote workers, and give them that training. And if there's a skill training they need, we can help with that. So we'll talk a little bit about that shortly. I just met with the Sevier County School District, and it was a good meeting where we had the opportunity to talk with them about how this will look like in our schools. One of the biggest issues is what is referred to as net X migration of our students. So as they graduate high school, a lot of people are having this issue of these kids leaving. They're going to go to college up to a bigger city. When they graduate from there, they get a job with a big company that requires them to stay in the city. A good chunk of rural Utah youth would like to actually stay in rural Utah, but there currently hasn't been any opportunities. So we are a program that we also are brand new pilot program. We started, our funding became available July 1st, and our program coordinators were hired and started our jobs on August 1st, and then we hired our senior program coordinator. So this is our team here. Russell Goodrich is from, he's been a teacher and all sorts of, he's had a lot of good programs, CTE director at USU Eastern. He saw the value of this program and thought this would be great. So he's our senior program coordinator. He's mainly going to be the one working with government agencies and employers to let them know about the folks that we're putting through our program. We have 3 program coordinators, Jordan Leonard, Mike Sarles, and myself, and we will be working directly with the people to give them the skills and things like that. And Paul Hill is our principal investigator advisor. He is the faculty through USU Extension that has basically put all this together. And then Emmy Swadley is our super gal who takes care of all the stuff that that we usually don't think about doing. And so she does a great job. So our areas are Eastern Utah is covered by Jordan Leonard. He's currently focused mostly in Emery and Carbon County, but he is also responsible for San Juan, Grandview, and Daggett. I cover Sanpete, Sevier, Wayne, and Beaver, and I've worked a little bit with Juab and Millard, but they're not listed in the pilot program at this time. But they're about as rural as all these other counties. And then we have Mike Sarles, who's housed in Garfield, and he works with Garfield, Kane, Iron, Washington, and Paiute. Governor Herbert said we need to find ways to adapt to the changing market and find a pathway to success. This program is a perfect example of changing to the market. Rural Utah, for years and years and years, they've tried to bring business into their areas, and for many reasons, it just hasn't worked as well as they would like it to. And so now we are bringing the people to the business, creating opportunities for them to have a higher salary in a rural area, working for a large company that can use their skills and expertise. Darren Bushman said, ROI will target high school students nearing graduation to avail them of the opportunities that exist online for those not pursuing higher education. By targeting high school students, ROI hopes to reduce the net ex-migration from rural Utah counties. So when we talk about this, this is a big aspect of teaching our kids that they do not have to leave the area. There's education opportunities, there's job opportunities. When I spoke with Mike Noel, who was the legislator who presented this bill for the Rural Online Initiative, this was his big thing, was talking about keeping our youth, giving them the opportunity to stay if that's what they choose. I'm going to go ahead and skip through those results there. We had doing a little bit of survey with the school districts in rural Utah. The biggest issues that I'm seeing is that their strongest CTE programs are their agriculture, their health and wellness, their like mechanics and stuff like that. Those are things that have been in place for a long time, that have been, good staples for rural Utah. But where technology is changing, we are seeing that the CTE programs in the technology arena and in the business and marketing are not quite as good. And so that's something that we are going to try to focus on improving, is helping our schools create that opportunity. Another focus that we have is those who are unemployed, underemployed, or they need supplemental income. The story, the avatar that we talk about in this program is the family that moves to a rural community where the husband gets a job that's a good high-paying job, it provides good benefits, and it is beneficial for the family to move to this area, to a rural community. Well, the wife has education, has work experience, has hobbies and interests that she would like to do as well, but they may be in a tech-related field or something like that, that in that community, she is unable to find work. And so as we develop this program, we are looking for opportunities to get this person trained, get her jobs. If there is a skill gap because, working online versus the job that she used to do is in a different, had a lot of on-site requirements, we can help bridge that gap and help this person to be able to get a job where she can work from home, she can still be with her family and kids. The husband provides the benefits. So she may or may not look for a regular W-2 position. She may be more interested in a freelance position or starting an entrepreneur business, an online, e-commerce business or something like that. So we are focusing on freelance opportunities, which are more contract related. We're focusing on entrepreneurship, creating business, and that eventually will be adding jobs to our local communities and connecting employees with employers who are willing to take advantage of the REDI grant and the other opportunities where they're creating jobs for people in rural Utah. 94% of jobs created between 2005 and 2017 were in the alternative work category. What that means is 94% of jobs that were posted or that were recruited for began in a temp position where, companies can try the worker. If they like them, then they hire them. It also consists of freelance. The gig economy has really created it so that if I wanted to go get a graphic design job, if I jump on Upwork or freelance.com and start doing some freelance work on there, I may just be doing a project for my next employer, because they're going to say, oh yeah, we want you to design this brochure, this logo, and this other thing. And if they love what I do, and if I do it in a good, timely manner, and I'm professional about it, they may come back and say, you know what, we love what you do. Would you like a job? And so a lot of the times jobs are created through a temporary type position, and freelance and temp agencies were a big key to this 94% category here. So telecommuting, co-working spaces, virtual teams, freelancing, and online talent platforms are the future of work. The generations that are in the workforce at this time, Generation X, the millennials, and even the Gen Z is starting to jump into the workforce. We all like to do things when we want to do them. And so that's what's happening here is these opportunities to work from home, these opportunities to work from your car or from the beach and wherever. This is where work is going, and anything that can be done online, companies are starting to gravitate toward being able to provide that as a benefit to employees. So 36% of the U.S. workforce freelanced in 2017. By 2027, that is expected to exceed 50%. So it's expected to jump up to 51%. So this is a pretty big deal here, that this is where we are going with the technology world. And McKinsey rated Utah as one of the best states for household internet access. And it's only getting better. A lot of the small communities that I'm seeing, the internet providers in the local area there are feverishly working to get grants and to get funding and get the money provided so that they can produce fiber internet throughout the state of Utah. And the federal government is also working on providing more funding for that to be able to happen. So our objectives of this pilot program is to raise awareness of the freelance market, to assess current level of the freelance skills. So we work with the individuals and identify what freelance skills they already have. We train them on how to get started with the skills they have. If we find there's a gap, we have scholarship money available. There may be some reimbursements that could happen as far as getting people trained into a level where they need to be. And then we will set rural Utah on a pathway to develop more freelance skills. So this program has really taken off. We're excited about it. Again, the funding was available July 1st. We technically started August 1st. Our official kickoff was in October, and we already have 45 people registered in our first class. We have 163 people who have completed applications and 98 completed profiles. And many of those 98 are waiting for our next classes that will be starting here in a week or two. We have town halls that have already happened. We've had over 60 people attend town halls. We're probably actually getting close to 100 because we had a large group in our Sevier County School District one today. And, you know, we've got 23 registered for our class in Richfield. We've got over 30 registered in Ephraim. I had to bump the number up because they sold out all their tickets. And we may be looking for bigger places. So this is a great program to be able to teach people how they can succeed online. That's pretty much the presentation that I wanted to share with you today. Are there any burning questions in our chat area here?
I don't have any burning questions. If anybody has one, could you type that into the chat box? We'll see, you did such a great job, Trent, and nobody has any questions.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, if you think of any, put it in the chat box. Maybe we can catch it later, or my email is Trenton, Trenton, .Wilson, WILLSON, @usu.edu. You're welcome to shoot me an email and get in contact with me. And we can, excellent question that should have been covered in my presentation, huh? So our website is remoteworkcertificate.com. So it's all one word, remoteworkcertificate.com. And there's a button about almost to the bottom of the page that you can apply. If you are a partner and you're not necessarily looking to go through the certification program, you can get on there and you can request our newsletter. Or if you are an employer who is looking to hire remote workers, there's a box that you can check for that as well. And so there's a lot of good information there, but if you just fill out that application, we'll be, we went through our first course. We're almost through our first course, actually.
Make rural people aware of all remote training programs.
Well, what I've been able to, so I guess what our team has done, one of our first things we did was we went and attended county commission meetings. We're working closely with the economic development directors in each of the areas, and they've been phenomenal. We've had some really good successes just with the economic development directors, but we've also had a lot of success from Facebook. I've been jumping on, the job posting sites that are on Facebook, and I often will see people ask about work from home jobs or part-time jobs or flexible jobs or something like that. And so just responding to those has really kind of put a lot of awareness out there. We've been on radio. We're getting a lot of good publicity through the newspapers and through other things. We're actually getting some national publicity as well. Yesterday we were on a phone call with a writer for Forbes.com, and he's a huge remote revolution writer. He loves the remote revolution. He writes on it all the time. So we're even getting articles into Forbes and other things. There's a lot of people here in the state watching this program, but there's a lot of people nationally and internationally who's getting they're looking at it as a great tool, and we're packaging this in such a way that it's repeatable in other states all over the country, and in colleges and universities where this is becoming a packaged product that is going to be easily sent throughout the country down the road.